All right, this video is on creating your interactive drop-down menus in Adobe XD. And now it's not the only pattern, maybe someone else, but I think everyone in the class is using the drop-down pattern. So all I've done is I've built, right, I've got just a navigation item. So if we see in our right, we want to be in our layers. I built this and I have like, here's one item, here's two items, here's three items, right? Same over here. So the best way to do this is we'd like to see some things, do some hover stuff, right? Now, maybe this is one step too much and you can skip this part, but what's good about, when I do my navigation, right, when I hover over this, these open, but when I hover over these, they usually will change some kind of color or style or something. So how would we do that? Well, I'm just going to grab one and I'm going to turn this into a component, right? And so now this is a master component, a main component. So I'm actually going to take these and get those out of here, right? So I've got this, and now I want it to like go darker and maybe the text to go bold on hover. So I'm going to go ahead over here and say add a state, and I'm going to add a hover state. And I'll just leave it at hover state. And instead, well, I'm going to double click on this one so I can change just this to a little darker. I'm going to click on the text. I'm going to make it bold. Why not? Just to do something. I probably, I don't like it bold. Let's just leave it regular and let's just let the color do, right? And then I'm going to go back to default state and I hit play, and now you see, right, I've got a hover. Okay, so now I'm going to get rid of these, right? Because I'm going to make instances of this. So I'm going to make another instance of this because I don't want to have to rebuild that stupid hover, right? So I'm going to make those, set those up, and I'll change it to whatever page it's going to, right? Drop down 2. Make another thing, right? I'm just holding Option when dragging out an additional copy, right? Just making sure that, these things are all where they want to go. And now when I hit play, right, they all have little hovers. Ooh, see, notice it's drop down item 1. So you actually have to, I always forget this, I always want to do it. Go back here, change the text in both places. What a pain, right? But that's the breaks when you don't code, right? So, whoops, grab this, go to hover state, change it to drop down item 3, put it back into, right, default state, right? So now it should be working. 1, 2, 3. Great, it's working. So now the next thing I need to do is make it drop down when I hover over this or when I click on this. Actually, yeah, we don't want to use hover, because if you use hover, then you won't be able to get to this to click to the next page, right? And I have just like a simple page 2 made over there. So what am I going to do? I'm just going to grab the item that I want the click on, right? It might be for you a button, it might be just text, doesn't matter, right? Grab them both. If you have two, like if you have a button behind it, make sure you grab both of those things and go ahead and turn that into a component. And right, it's got its default state. And you'll see over here, right, you should have your layers open, that these components get this little triangle right here. So what do we need to do next? Well, I am going to go ahead and make a new state, and I'll call this drop down, right? Doesn't matter what you call it. And I'll grab all of these. I'll hit Command X to cut them, right? I want to put it in this component. Now, this is where it gets a little funny. I have to open this, and I can't just have this selected. I have to be inside the component to be able to paste it inside the component. Otherwise, it'll just paste it, still out in this other context. So I hit Command V, and there it is. My items are there, right? So that's in my component. They're actually, it's only in the drop-down state here, which is kind of weird, right? But let's, well, we can't test out anything yet because we need to put a tap on it, right? So let's go to prototype, and I'll just add an interaction by clicking this. You could have also added this thing. I want to tap, I want to auto animate, and I want to go to drop down. And now let's play it. Great, it comes, all my stuff. But now when I click it, it doesn't go away. So we need to actually go into the drop down state, right? And we don't want to click on everything. We want to click just on this to get it away. So I kind of clicking in this, adding an action, animate to the default state, kind of click off here, just, right, go back to design, click on this, go to default state. So now I'm set back up. So now when I come, click on it, I can use my navigation there. But actually nothing's going on in the navigation, right? I click on these things and nothing happens, and there's going to be a couple of pages that you need to go to. So what do we do there? Well, I am going to need to do some work here. Go into the drop-down state. Go into here. Now, here's a problem. This is my main... oh, that's an instance? Oh, that's my... I thought that was my main one. Well, if this is a main instance and you add a navigation item, it'll add it to all of them, and we don't want that. So make sure your things are instance. If it says main, just go ahead and delete it and drag out a new instance to fix that. But what we want to do is, right, when I click on this drop-down item, I want to go to page 2. So I'll add another one. I'll just drag it out and make it pull it to the artboard here. And we want it to tap. We want it to transition, right? And we're going to this artboard, and so that's all fine. Dissolve is fine. So now, when I come back here, go to design, right? I need to put it back in default state. And so now, when I hit play, right, click it, my items come up. I can hover them. I click on this, and there I go. I go to page 2. So that's everything you could possibly need to know, right? So now if you're going to do it for navigation item 2, right, you can do all the same things, right? I would actually just probably get rid of these, right? Drag out, well, you have to find your components here, right? So I lost my components there. So here I went into the components over here, and I find the component I need, which is drop down item 1, right? So you'll change the name here. Don't forget to go into hover state and change the name there. Do it as many times as you need, and then follow all the same steps to get it into the navigation. Once you're done and you have these set up, right? And you need to put them on other pages, you can simply, right, it'll look like this, right? Make sure it's, however you want it. And I'll just go ahead and hit Command C to copy. Go over to the page, hit Command V, and it'll put it right in the exact same spot on that page, as long as they're the same size same width artboard, I should say, right? So they should go in the same spot and the same height from the top. So that is everything you should need to know for making your drop-down menus, navigation menu interactive in XD.